Hey guys, it's Kiana F. Brown, and this is the Uplift project, Could Life Be Different? And the reason behind this is because most of the times when people see me, I might be on a stage or I might be in studio on a different type of platform where I'm not just totally free in all of myself. And it's been truly a journey to forgiveness and asking myself over and over again, could life be different? And what do I mean by that? Could it be different from the choices that you made? Could it be different from the decisions that other people made for you? Are you able to repossess your life? Are you able to regain the purpose that God has placed deeply inside of you? And this is the Uplift project, and it's a part of my new business called Uplift Women's Alliance. And in that, we help women, business owners, to discover their purpose, to create impact in the world, and to find and build their confidence. And so I never understood it or never realized how business did all of that for me, because before then, let's go back to the before I was a business owner, I was locked in a place, pretty much trapped in every area of my life. It started very at the beginning when I was literally about 4 years old. 4 years old, I was sent to live with my grandparents, my brother and I. Great home, great background, great support system, but it wasn't my parents. And so from there, I started to formulate this depression. I wanted my mom to be around. I wanted my dad to be around. But they were caught up in a lifestyle that I had no control over. And so I had to then just sit in and get in the position of getting inside the trap that was the very beginning of the down spiral of what became my life. Now today, I'm in a better space. Today, I've broken free from so many traps. You know, the mental trap, the society trap, your environmental trap. I've been able to break free from that. But I'll tell you, there's one trap that I'm still struggling with, and that's my physical trap. From getting into places where things are not working out the way that I want them to work out, and I then choose something, food, to make me feel better, to give me comfort. You know, for so long, you try to control all of the elements of your life. And there was one option that I could not control. I could not get in my mind to put the fork down. And so I continuously picked the fork up and put it in my mouth. But that's going a little bit, to where I am now. But in the past, because I wanted that relationship with my parents in my youthful years, I put myself in this space, this trap, where I kind of alienated myself from the rest of the world. I mean, literally being in my grandmother's back porch and just sitting there and allowing for food to become my friend, because that's where it started. Food was my friend in the very beginning. I don't remember going outside playing a lot of the times. Yeah, summertime I went out, we did double dutch, we did some of those things, but I wasn't out there all the time. Most of the time I was in the house. I can remember my favorite place on the back porch, sitting at the table with a fork in my hand and the television in front of me. And that's how I dealt with the adversity that was in my life. Sure, like I said in the beginning, I had great things. I had a great support system, but that did not affect the way that I felt about myself. It did not affect the way that I wanted my parents to be in my life. And so I started a down spiral, literally going to junior high school. Like, I found the marching band. Like, I'm just march, like, it's silly, but I love the band. I love music. It's something that does something to me. If you've ever been down and you put some music on, it can literally change the trajectory of your mood, your moment. And so that's what music did for me. And to be able to play it and learn how to read music and do all those great things, it allowed for me to have a great escape. Escape is the word, because I was escaping from the trap that I was placed in within my mindset. And so from there, we started to feel ourselves a little bit in junior high school. And then I went early into high school. I went to Calvin Coolidge Senior High School, into a program that they just started. They just developed it. And there, the girls, they were getting what I didn't get. And so then I put myself in another trap, a trap of not having the love and the attention that I desired. And I did anything and everything I could do to get that attention, to get those feelings. And I ended up in some relationships that I probably should have never been in. And so over time, I had started to use drugs. I had started to get in the cars with my friends, and we would do different things, like they would steal cars, and I'm doing all of this, riding around the city, having the best time of my life, so that I thought, but it really wasn't, because I was digging myself further into a trap. So much further into a trap that it was like literally almost hard for me to get out of this trap. You know, when you're placed in a situation for so long, and I'll use relationships as an example. You're in a relationship for so long, and it's like you feel that you can't get out. You feel that you're stuck in this relationship. Maybe it's a job, a dead-end job that you're really trying to get out of, and you don't know how to get out of this job. And you feel that you're in a trap. And so my whole life was just nothing but a series of traps. But I figured out something a little bit later on in life, and I'll share that with you in a little bit. But one of those other traps, that relationship trap, it led me to a prison cell for 4 years of my life. 4 years of my life was taken away from me because I couldn't figure out how to get out of a bad relationship. A relationship that I was abused in, a relationship where I almost literally died. I almost died, but then something inside of me, I was still yearning for that love, that attention, that affection that I wanted so badly that I ended up going back to someone who was literally almost choking me to death. And then once I did that, that person kind of coerced me into thinking, or should I say, I wanted to be that ride or die, because I didn't want to let that person down. I still wanted them to be in my life. So I was willing to do anything and everything just to keep that person in my life. And so we ended up committing a crime. And I ended up getting 7 years in prison. And when that was announced to me in the courtroom, it was crazy. I couldn't even think of anything. And I've never really started to think about this initial moment until maybe a couple of weeks ago. After I got sentenced, I went in the back. And this is how I know that God is with you in everything that you do. Everything that you go through, you may not feel that He's there with you, but He was literally there with me in that moment, because there was a gentleman in the cell next to me. And I promise you, I didn't know this guy from a can of paint. I didn't know him from anything. And he said, "You got time." And the next thing I know, he reached his hand out across the bars. Just imagine, it's like you're in the jail cell. There's a jail cell here, a jail cell there. And he reached his hand out. And he held my hand, and I could do nothing but weep. But there was comfort. There was solace in that moment. And I know that that was nothing but God. That was nothing but Him that had came in and crept in that space to let me know, oh, ye child, still have faith. Still have faith. And so I endured that time. But I noticed a pattern with some of the people that were in prison. They kept coming back. And I couldn't understand why. You know, here, this is a felony charge, my first offense felony, and I'm just not coming home. And that's what I felt like. But to see them, I said, you know what, Kiana, you have to do something different. You have to do something different. And literally what I did was I made a plan. And in that plan, I set forth some goals that I wanted to accomplish. So anyone that's listening to this, you know, in Habakkuk 2:2, it says, write the vision and make it plain. And I did that. But I also had to write steps with that so that I could accomplish and complete everything that I had set before me. And here's the part that typically doesn't really come out, or hasn't come out a lot, because I've been journeying through life. I came home. I got everything that I asked for, everything that I had written down on that list, I had obtained, except for a book. I had gotten back into the pet care industry. I had eventually opened my own business, shameless plug, Pooch Styles Pet Grooming. I did that, and I even became a certified paralegal. That's one of the things that I did while incarcerated, because it was a means of helping someone else. Even though I was in the situation I was in, and I kind of took a love for it. So I said, okay, hey, this is something you can fall back on if the pet grooming thing doesn't work. But the book hadn't been written yet. Now, I came home in 2005. Now, it's 2005 15 when I decided, okay, you need to actually complete this process. And so that was for me going to be the ending of that era. So I had to put a period at that. But as you know, when you put a period at something, it doesn't mean that it's the end of everything. It's just the end of that sentence. And so life is merely a paragraph. So I'm going to keep going. And within that, I wrote the book, but it wasn't the book I was supposed to write. I stuck to something easy just to say I had something accomplished. But God was still tugging at me. He was still pulling at me to actually go in deeper and share more. So that book was about pet care. And the next book, I wanted to share my journey, my prison journey, the experience that I had being in a cell, being away from my family, being shipped off to different cities and states and not even knowing, just going at a whim, and being in those positions where I had no control. And so somehow or another on social media, which is amazing because I love social media now. At first I was a little afraid of it because I had been in prison for so long and this was all new to me. But using social media, it allowed for me to be able to have connections with people that I probably would have never connected with. And that's when the first book collaboration came out and I was able to share my story. And that literally opened up so much stuff for me. It opened up a whole new world to me. Things that I could have never thought that I could be, or things that would never exist in my life. And it was just, I can't even tell you the amazingness that I felt accomplishing that. And that was the story that I was supposed to share. But guys, being caught in a trap, like I said, it's just like being able to be free. And that's my mission and that's my goal. Constantly over and over and over in life, I had been in a trap, but I was somehow able to still continue to break free. Now, there might be some challenges that you might be dealing with, but I know for me, the number one issue was unforgiveness. Unforgiveness was at the head of everything that happened to me. Let's see, I didn't forgive my dad for not being there. Eventually, I forgave my mom. And I didn't forgive my dad and blamed him for every single thing, whether it was the drugs, whether it was the lifestyle that I chose, even down to prison. You know, both of my parents had been in prison. And I did nothing but complete the cycle. You know how some colleges, everybody goes to, some families, everyone goes to college. Well, in my family, everyone went to prison. And so my goal is to break that generational curse by sharing how forgiveness can help free you. Whatever your generational curse is, whatever dilemma that you're dealing with inside of your family, I just want to let you know that you can break free from that. You don't have to be in bondage to the things. And you know, this is crazy that, you know, this is where I am now, right? You see this. At one point, I was like this. I was closed in. I was trapped. And now, because I'm realizing that if I forgive this, then there's a little bit more room. If I open up some more, there's a little bit more room. And as I continue to do this over and over and over again, I'm breaking free. I'm breaking free from the mindset that I had. I'm breaking free from the pain. Did you know that when you have pain, it is literally the same? Your body cannot distinguish whether it's a pain of a heartache or whether it's a pain of someone cutting you or hurting you. I bet you didn't know that. I didn't know that until I was listening to some study and I was like, wow, literally, we don't even understand how we process pain. And if you don't know how you process it, then how will you know how to get rid of it? And so I process things by just thinking about them, kind of revealing them, and then I release them. And I know that in some areas in relationships that we get broken after we get to a place of healing. And we need to get past that. And so confidence is one of the things that allows for us to be in a different environment within our mindset. Because once you've been broken, then you have to remember or feel that you have, remember that feeling, remember whatever it was that you felt when you were happy, right? Once you've been broken, you want to get back to that place. But you have to have confidence in order to get there, because most of the times once you've been there, you kind of find it a little bit harder to move on. You kind of find it a little bit harder to take that next step. You find it a little bit harder to take that next leap into a relationship or whatever that thing may be for you. And so I just want to encourage you, and no matter what you do in life, where you go, to always remember that space of forgiveness. That is something that God has given to us, that we can ask for time and time again. But remember that in asking for it, that you must also forgive it. And one question that I want to ask you is, do you think that people can learn to be more forgiving? I've learned to be more forgiving. Is that a question that you can ask yourself? Can I be more forgiving? There's a study that says if you don't forgive, then you can have all types of health issues, dealing with your heart, just a lot of things that will put you in a place that you will be sick. And so, but it says also that in forgiveness, it allows for you to have a more sane, a more healthier life. So I just want to encourage you to share this project, Uplift. Could life be different? And for me, I know it could, but that's the question that I have for you. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for tuning in. Share it out. Do everything you have to do to make sure that forgiveness is shared amongst the nation.